Am I back? Let's see here. Looks like maybe I'm back, guys. Now I'm going to have to reset up. Jeez Louise, why does this stuff keep happening? Oh, looks like maybe we're back. Is that true? We got it? All right, good. Okay. I'm going to have to move the chat here. Guys, bear with me. I do not understand what's going on, but seems par for the course lately. I'm so sorry. I don't know if I can find the chat. That's the wrong one. I don't know if I can get the chat plugged back into this, guys. Huh. I'm going to continue playing this. I think, am I back? I'm going to start this back a little bit.
Are the same. It's only their mannerisms and methods that differ.
There are many whites who are trying to solve the problem, but you never see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox, and a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to, but the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. You take him for a friend.
Malcolm X knew our political choices had become two sides of the same coin. His words are an example how even when a man's name can echo through the mouths of history, the words can often be forgotten. I do not feel that the Republican Party has our best interest in mind, but it's completely obvious the Democrats don't. However, I do trust President Trump, and I know his leadership will eventually bring realization to the people that the power was always ours to embrace. We just gave it away. Never forget who the real enemy is. And when the enemy you know hates on the enemy you were taught, the enemy you were taught is probably your greatest ally.
I'm sorry about the interruption there, everyone. I have a perfect stream, perfect internet. Everything was green, and of course, we got shut down. I think the chat is back, and you guys are back. Obviously, it's always a little bit cumbersome here trying to get situated. I don't see the chat moving, but I think you're there. Anyway, a very telling story there, and the truth is more tough to understand than the lie sometimes because of the hidden nature of it. Our whole country has this issue, the hidden nature of it. The compromise. Should we compromise? I'm going to see if I can get over here. I still can't find the feed to get the chat working, guys, on the actual video. It's not even showing me what's going live right now. Hey, mods, if you could drop me the link that you're watching right in the Discord, please. Because I'm not finding it. I'm not seeing the chat moving here. There we go. Oh, this is such a pain in the butt. And so Sandy out there said, has it really been all a false flag our whole lives? And the answer was yes, it has been a false flag our whole lives. Pretty much everything has been a false flag. And that's what we're dealing with. You're dealing with an engineered reality. Nothing ever happens in the world that doesn't have some sort of political motivation. And that's for any of us. Any country, not just America. All right, now I'm back over to the chat. Get the link. Get us back on track here. And about the time I get us back on track, I'm sure it will go down again. Okay, that should refresh. There you are. Hey guys. All right, here we go. We're back. Okay, so we're going to check out this letter that was sent to the president just last week from Cardinal, was it Cardinal Carlo Vigano? I think that's what it was, but this is very, very interesting here. Mr. President, in recent months, we have been witnessing the formation of two opposing sides that I would call biblical, the children of light and the children of darkness. The children of light constitute the most conspicuous part of humanity, while the children of darkness represent an absolute minority. And yet the former are the object of sort of discrimination, which places them in a situation of moral inferiority with respect to their adversaries, who often hold strategic positions in government, in politics, in the economy, and in the media. In an apparently inexplicable way, the good are held hostage by the wicked and by those who help them either out of self-interest or fearfulness. These two sides, which have a biblical nature, follow the clear separation between the offspring of the woman and the offspring of the serpent. On the one hand, there are those who, although they have thousand defects and weaknesses, are motivated by the desire to do good, to be honest, to raise a family, to engage in work, to give prosperity to their homeland, to help the needy, and in obedience to the law of God, to merit the kingdom of heaven. On the other hand, there are those who serve themselves, who do not hold any moral principles, who want to demolish the family and the nation, exploit workers to make themselves unduly wealthy, foment internal divisions and wars, and accumulate power and money. For them, the fallacious illusion of temporal well-being will one day, if they do not repent, yield to the terrible fate that awaits them, far from God in eternal damnation. In society, Mr. President, these two opposing realities coexist as eternal enemies, just as God and Satan are eternal enemies, and it appears that the children of darkness, whom we may easily identify with deep state, which you wisely oppose and which is fiercely waging war against you in these days, have decided to show their cards, so to speak, by now revealing their plans. They seem to be so certain of already having everything under control that they have laid aside that circumspection that until now had at least partially concealed their true intentions. The investigations already underway will reveal the true responsibility of those who manage the COVID emergency, not only in the area of healthcare, but also into politics, the economy, and the media. We will probably find that in the colossal operation of social engineering, there are people who have decided the fate of humanity, arrogating to themselves the right to act against the will of citizens and their representatives in the government of nations. We will also discover that the riots in these days were provoked by those who, seeing that the virus is inevitably fading and the social alarm of the pandemic is waning, necessarily have had to provoke civil disturbances. But they will be allowed or would be followed by repression, which, although legitimate, could be condemned as an unjustified aggression against the population. The same thing is also happening in Europe, in perfect synchrony. It is quite clear that the use of street protest is instrumental to the purposes of those who would like to see someone elected in the upcoming presidential elections who embodies the goals of the deep state and who exposes those goals faithfully and with conviction. It will not be surprising if in a few months we learn once again that hidden behind those acts of vandalism and violence are those who hope to profit from the dissolution of the social order so as to build a world without freedom. Solvet colagla, as the Masonic adage teaches. Although it may seem disconcerting, the opposing alignments I have described are also found in the religious circles. They are faithful shepherds who care for their flock of Christ, but they are also mercenary infidels who seek to scatter the flock and hand the sheep over to be devoured by the ravenous wolves. It is not surprising that these mercenaries are allies to the children of darkness and hate the children of light. Just as there is a deep state, there is also a deep church that betrays its duties and forswears its proper commitments before God, thus the invisible enemy, whom good rulers fight against in public affairs, is also fought against by good shepherds in the ecclesiastical sphere. It is a spiritual battle, which I spoke about in my recent appeal, which was published in May. For the first time, the United States has in you a president who courageously defends the right to life, who is not ashamed to denounce the persecution of Christians throughout the world, who speaks of Jesus Christ and the right of citizens to freedom of worship. Your participation in the March for Life, and more recently your proclamation of the month of April as National Child Abuse Prevention Month, are actions that confirm which side you wish to fight on. And I dare to believe that both of us are on the same side in this battle, albeit with different weapons. For this reason, I believe the attack to which you were subjected after your visit to the National Shrine of St. John Paul II is part of the orchestrated media narrative which seeks not to fight racism and bring social order, but to aggravate dispositions, not to bring justice, but to legitimize violence and crime, not to serve the truth, but to favor one political faction. And it is disconcerting that there are bishops, such as those whom I recently denounced, who by their words prove that they are aligned on the opposing side. They are subservient to the deep state, to globalism, to aligned thought, to the New World Order, which they will invoke ever more frequently in the name of a universal brotherhood which has nothing Christian about it, but which invokes the Masonic ideals of those that want to dominate the world by driving God out of the courts, out of schools, out of families, and perhaps even our churches. The American people are mature and have now understood how much the mainstream media does not want to spread the truth, but seeks to silence and distort it, spreading the lie that is useful for the purpose of their masters. However, it is important that the good, who are the majority, wake up from their sluggishness and do not accept being deceived by the minority of dishonest people with unavowable purposes. It is necessary that the good children of light come together and make their voices heard. What more effective way is there to do this, Mr. President, than by prayer, asking the Lord to protect you, the United States, and all of humanity from the enormous attack of this enemy? Before the power of prayer, the deceptions of the children of darkness will collapse. Their plots will be revealed. Their betrayal will be shown. Their frightening power will end in nothing, brought to light and exposed for what it is, an infernal deception. Mr. President, my prayer is constantly turned to the beloved American nation, where I had the privilege and honor of being sent by Pope Benedict as Apostolic Nuncio in the dramatic and decisive hour of all humanity. I am praying for you and also for those who are on your side of government in the United States. I trust the American people are united with me and you in prayer to Almighty God, united against the invisible enemy of all humanity. I bless you and the First Lady, the beloved American nation, and all men and women of goodwill. Carlo Maria Vigano. That was sent to your president this past week, saying a lot of the same things you and I are saying there, no? Talking about the invisible enemy. Talking about the invisible hand. Talking about the hidden scourge, secret societies. You know, what are we talking about? Can you tell me what the numerical difference is between Joe Biden and the mob? Can you tell me the difference between the mob and the cartel? Can you tell me the difference between the cartel and the worldwide drug and sex trafficking and slavery organizations? Can you tell me the difference between those organizations and the Vatican? Can you tell me the difference between the Vatican and the Federal Reserve? Can you tell me the difference between the Federal Reserve and the social media? Can you tell me the difference between the social media and your political structure? Can you tell me the difference between your political structure and the news, the mainstream media? You know what the numerical difference is between everything I just mentioned? 0.0. The video that we just watched, the covenant, secret of the covenant, told you the truth. Make them fight with each other. Make them think that they're different because their skin is a different color. Make them think that they're different because they speak a different language. Make them think that they're different because their dogma is different than theirs. Make them all toil and not realize the existence of the, quote, prime creator. That's what the trick is. If they prevent you from making that connection, then what have they prevented you from doing? They prevented you from developing your own personal relationship with your true self. The answers are inside. The answers are within you. You will not find the answers outside of you. No one will be able to tell you anything. Forgiveness of yourself is the key to the kingdom. And I mean that literally. Your direct choice to decide to forgive yourself for everything that you have done in your life to anyone else, regardless of what it was, is the first step you will take on the road to finding your true self. Because within that forgiveness, what you will find is the power. What you will find in that power is the ability to forgive others who have trespassed against you. Why? Because you see in them your folly. Because you look honestly to them for your folly. You see in other people things that alarm you or make you upset. And instead of attack them for it, you should recognize that those are the things that are inside you that you want to work on, but instead you attack someone else for it. Because what? You're too lazy? Because what? You're too good? Are you too good to forgive yourself? Have they trained us to be too good to forgive ourselves? Even some of the religious doctrine out there is not too keen on that. Forgiveness. You cannot forgive anyone else until you've forgiven yourself wholly. It's a choice you make. And when the time comes and you stand before your maker, that maker does not judge you. You know who judges you? You do. You judge you. You will not one day be standing before an entity that will rain down fire on you for your sins or mistakes. No, no, no. That's not what happens. You are allowed to see your experiences here in this realm, and you are allowed to see, feel, and understand how you made everyone you interacted with in this realm feel, think. And then upon the end of that journey of experiencing everything that you had to do with everyone else that was in your life here, guess what happens? You currently have all the information to make the true judgment. And therein lies the beauty of free will. Free will. Freedom. Freedom to screw it up. Freedom to do it right. Choices are real in this realm. Deceptions are real in this realm. Evil is real in this realm. You came here to do something about it in this realm. You did. Not your neighbor. Not the Democrat that you don't like. Not your family member that irritates you. You. And you have no power to do anything about what any of those other people do. Only thing that you can do is speak wise words and speak the truth. Not your truth. The truth. So many lessons lie there. So whenever we dig into the interesting term, the solvato coagula, that we saw in the letter there from the bishop, what is that? Oh, familiar to some as an ancient maxim of alchemists, the puffers of old, simplest form of means to dissolve and coagulate, to break a substance down to its basic elements before reforming it into something new. This could be analogous of the destruction of one's ego before the realization of the true self, or the distillation of a substance down to the prima materia. The master alchemist had this to say about the phrase in his book. Teaches how to achieve the elementary conversion by volatilizing the fixed and fixing the volatile. Does that sound like order out of chaos? Sounds exactly like that. If you know how to dissolve the fixed and to make the dissolve fly, then to fix the flying in powder, you have something to console yourself with. And the serpent eats the tail. You ever see that symbol? Do you not think that it's a little scary that the symbol of the serpent twisted around a scepter is the symbol for your medical industry? In the heavens above, the planets which seemed to move freely were volatile entities, while the stars, which all appeared to move in unison, were considered fixed entities. This connection to celestial alchemy led me to wonder if there were more to the solvitur coagula that must be also as connection to the stars above. They do not want you to realize that you are the most important thing to you in creation. You are manifesting your world. You have the power to manifest your destiny. You have the free will to choose your destiny. And you have the free will to let it sit there and rot and not do a darn thing with it. And that's beautiful. It's stone cold beautiful. So we're talking about the secret societies. We talk about the Black Boule. What is that, you ask? This is the organization that current black leaders in America who usurp the population of black people here belong to, including those like Oprah, Farrakhan, many, many more. This was an organization, a secret society that was pretty much born out of the creation of the Republican Party by a large majority of black people in the late mid-1800s. And they had to get control of them because they were making sense and they were becoming a loud voice. And so what do you have to do to loud voices? You have to usurp, you have to infiltrate, you have to set up parameters so that you can get people back in the pen. No, you're not going to get the people back in the pen from that age, but in 30, 40, 50 years you will. You play the long game. What could the Boule offer America's blacks in the early 20th century? Joining the exclusive secret society offered advancements and perks to select blacks in return for loyalty to its objectives. The upper tenth of blacks started to live the good life as the Boule members, while the majority of ordinary blacks were disenfranchised. And that is how every single city, Democrat-run city, operates. They take all this money and they ask for all this money that they're going to work for the poor populations, but they end up just, what? Stealing it. They steal it. And they put it in their own political campaigns. The hidden hand is not just white. They've usurped all of us. They've tried to make all of us against one another. They don't care about making race better, racism better. They care about making it worse. They want to make it worse. And that's their ultimate goal. And they're succeeding up until Q and your president showed up and dropped a Moab in the middle of it. This article, I'm not going to go through this, but the mods will drop this to you for your own review. Read through this, and when you get to the end of it, be curious to know what you think. Because it sure does raise a lot of questions. Not for me to say, but I'm offering it for you to dig. It's very compelling, and there's some stuff in there I think you're going to find interesting. It's like 10, 11 pages or something. And then I have this article here just as a marker, talking about it makes sense now to Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski when they tied their knot on their wedding. But the reason that I have this here, because I'm going to remember to come back to here, which we are looking at right now, the Tavistock Institute for the Destruction of America. And here is Mika Brzezinski's dad, this is Big Brzezinski, in this document. What happened and is happening in an ongoing basis foretold by Carter's national security advisor, Big Brzezinski, in his New Age book, The Technocratic Error, published in 1970. What he predicted is happening before our eyes, but the deadly sinister nature of these unfolding events is lost upon the people. The reality of what Brzezinski foretold in 1970 has come to pass. I suggest you read the book if it's obtainable, and then, as I've done, compare events that have transpired since 1970. We got a couple mentions of him in here. The most interesting one, I think it was here. One has only to look over the legislation passed by the Blair regime to see the liberties have been crushed, political dissent has been crushed, the Magna Carta put to flames, and in this place set to the draconian laws that makes for ominous reading, as goes England today, goes the United States tomorrow, according to an old saying. Like it or not, Brzezinski predicted that we, the people, would have nothing left of our right to privacy. Every little detail of our lives would be known by government and subject to instant recall from data banks. By the year 2000, he said, private citizens would be in the grip of government control as never before experienced by any other nation. Today, in 2005, we're under constant surveillance from such as could not be imagined a few years ago. Fourth Amendment has been trampled, our best protection from a gargantuan state, the 10th Amendment no longer in existence. And it has all been made possible through the work of Reese and social scientists who controlled the Tavistock and also the invisible hand. The Order of Committee of 300, Tavistock established the Club of Rome, first reported in 1969. NATO, all of it connected. 0.0 difference in any of the things that we've discussed here. All the same, all coordinating in secrecy and darkness. For what? Do you really make them afraid? What's their end goal?
Useless eaters. As your unqualified, non-elected global human health overlord, I'd like to take this opportunity to flaunt my position of power and influence over society and share some of my plans for you and your future. When I amassed my fortune in computer software, I demonstrated that I was willing to lie, steal code, cheat my partners, and exercise monopolistic control to destroy my competitors. Now that I've retired, I can rebrand myself as a humanitarian. With my for-profit foundation masquerading as a charity, I can advocate for population reduction and sponsor mass human experiments with unproven vaccines in vulnerable populations. Like my father, a powerful banker, eugenicist, and Rockefeller crony himself, it's always been my ambition to decide who lives and, more importantly, how many have to die. Whether it's under the guise of climate change or world health, it's really all about controlling and culling the human herd for fun and profit. In November of last year, I hosted Event 201, a war game simulation of a global pandemic. Leaders from private corporations, global banks, governments, and the media got together to strategize ways they could align in lockstep when responding to a worldwide health crisis. Using a coordinated campaign of fear-mongering, intimidation, social shaming, and economic blackmail, we realized that we could get around dangerous philosophies like individual liberty and national sovereignty. With an obedient population, we would be free to implement our own top-down solutions, like forced quarantines, social distancing, contact tracing, and mandatory testing, as a means to seize technocratic control of society. Now imagine my excitement when we had the opportunity to declare our own global pandemic. It was my chance to look like the Nostradamus of public health and to position myself and business partners like Dr. Fauci as the de facto authorities on response and solutions. Through exaggerated doomsday scenarios and computer simulations, our petty control freaks instituted harsh rules and draconian lockdowns. Even after our dire predictions proved false, Scared and well-meaning people continue to submit to the arbitrary and foolish demands of their so-called leaders. Having achieved global lockdown and medical martial law, we will continue to hold hostage your ability to congregate, work, travel, or do just about anything until we're prepared to roll out our bigger plan. I'd like to call this Pandemic 1, because believe me, we have others in the works. Our final solution is to have you begging for us to vaccinate, tag, and digitally track each one of you like livestock. Not only will my foundation enjoy legal immunity and trillions in profits, but these mandatory experimental vaccines will move us so much further down the road to absolute centralized global control. If only my good friend Jeffrey Epstein had been here to celebrate with me aboard the Lolita Express. So remember, global citizens, this will end when I say it ends. Could be a year, maybe 2 years, maybe never. I guarantee that if we have our way, it will be at least until you're not able to do anything to stop it. Just surrender your personal freedom and common sense to our fear merchants in government and the media, because none of this works unless you all go along with it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to do some augmented reality spirit cooking with Marina Abramovich. Bye now.
How much are you going to take? How much are we going to take? Now, you've watched the president expose them in a way that I don't think anyone else could have exposed them. Like, it is incredible how stupid they all look now to people who are awake. And to a lot of people who are not awake, they look pretty stupid too. But as you see there, that's a little bit of a video to give you an insight into what these people really think. Remember, 0.0 numerical difference between any of this. This whole thing, the hidden hand. Why do they picture themselves with the hidden hand? Why do they take photos from ancient times even with the hand tucked into the coat? Paintings with the hand tucked into why is that? Sculptures with the hand tucked. Why is that? Because the hand that binds you is to not be seen by you. Hashtag puppeteer. Puppeteer. Until Trump. And now this week, June 11th, just the other day, we get this. Executive order on blocking the property of certain persons associated with the International Criminal Court. Boom. This is the UN's police force. This is the global governance system that they were trying to implement on our soldiers and our people anywhere on planet Earth. And guess what somebody just did? They just took it all away and made you a sovereign American, no matter where you go. Big, big news. Now, the mods will drop this to you. You guys can go read this on your own. But we covered it on the show the other day. But the International Criminal Court being disbanded or being taken away from having any type of jurisdiction over you is an amazing executive order. And again, thank you, Donald J. Trump. We appreciate that. So now, okay, now here we go. We got to jump into this real quick. This document is called the Doctrine of Sovereignty under the United States Constitution. I am not going to read this. This is 40 pages, but I encourage you to read it, and we're going to read the first couple of paragraphs. One of the doctrines of the United States Constitution is the Doctrine of Sovereignty. This became a part of the original Constitution at the time of its adoption in 1789, or in the first period of our constitutional history. Its scope and meaning were not that clear or well defined. It has taken long years of constitutional history and profound opinions of the United States Supreme Court to make clear and well defined what was not so in the beginning, if indeed the years and opinions have attained this success. The doctrine of sovereignty has engaged the attention of jurists, theologians, and philosophers. Many books and innumerable articles have been written upon this subject, and the best minds, both the Anglo-American world and the European countries, have devoted their energies to this explanation. It has interested the ancients as well as the moderns, yet today, in spite of it all, there is neither universal nor consensus of agreement as to its meaning. Let me tell you the meaning. The meaning is king. I am my own king. I have no ruler. The state does not dictate to me. I dictate to the state. Unless I decide to go begging the state for a privilege. Oh, please, Mr. State, can I go fishing? Could I get a permit? Oh, please, Mr. State, can I drive to my job? Can I go get a driver's license? Please, Mr. State. Can I get married? Can I go get a marriage license? Please, Mr. State. Can I have my car registered to your name and my house deed in your files so that I don't actually own it? And I would just pay an income tax or a property tax every year. Thank you, Mr. State. Are those the acts of sovereign individuals? No. They're acts that we are currently doing in our modern world because we have forgotten our power. We have forgotten that we do not go ask the government for permission. The government comes to us and asks us for permission. Topsy-turvy world here. We are all sovereigns. No matter what your race is, no matter what your background is, no matter what your current contract entanglements are, you can make those null and void at any moment. Any of them. No one can force you to contract with the state. Just like no one can force a prosecutor to prosecute a defendant. It's a contract. If the contract isn't agreed to by both parties, it is null and void. The beauty of your system. So with that, we're going to play this. And we're going to talk about a couple sensitive things here in the next minute or two.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good. Do you know this lady back there in the accident, or?
I don't answer questions.
Okay. Well, have a nice day, sir.
All right, thank you.
Who was the gentleman you were just standing here?
I don't answer questions.
Is there a reason why?
I don't answer questions.
Do you have a nice day?
You too.
What are we filming here for? You don't want to talk?
Nah, I don't answer questions.
Okay.
What's your name again? Oh, I don't answer questions. All right. You have a good day. Thanks.
Phone number?
I don't answer questions.
Okay, is there anybody here that can answer questions?
Don't answer questions.
Okay. I'm not sure how to respond to that, sir.
I don't answer questions. I don't answer questions.
You don't answer questions?
That's correct.
What's the reason for that?
I don't answer questions.
I don't answer questions. Why do we not answer questions? We are allowed to answer questions if you would like to, but you do not have to. And the very interesting thing is, with your current form of government, which is a policy government. In other words, lots of things are, quote, illegal, but they are not, quote, unlawful. The common law aspect of your Constitution has directives in law, unlawful, and lawful. Legal is a type of code speak. Legalese is what they call it. And it's all about the cabal, and it's all about admiralty law, and it's all about being on a ship at maritime law, where you step on the ship once you cross the perimeter of the courtroom. Neither the legislature nor any executive or judicial officer may disregard the provisions of the Constitution in the case of emergency. Section 98, that anyone who declares the suspension of the constitutionally guaranteed rights to freely travel, peacefully assemble, earn a living, freely worship, etc., or attempts to enforce such suspension with 50 independent, sovereign, continental United States of America is making war against our Constitution and, therefore, we the people. They violate their constitutional oath and thus immediately forfeit their office and authority, and their proclamations may be disregarded with impunity. That means anyone, even the governor and the president. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about this. This is interesting, and I'm going to try to say this without triggering people. Okay. You're seeing defund the police. What do you think about that? You're seeing all kinds of people talk about defund the police. Well, per your Constitution, there's no such thing. What? What do you say? Per your Constitution, there's no such thing as police. Police is short for policy. Policy is policy enforcement. The people that enforce the policy are the police. The policy is not law. The policy is legal, illegal code. Big difference. A huge difference between a republic and a, quote, maritime admiralty law state. Oh, there wouldn't be any law and order, you shady. What are you talking about? No, that's what I'm talking about. But I would like for you to take a few minutes to do some research. And if you go through and you look at all the badges of a large number of states, quote, state police, you will find the Freemason symbol on them. The compass and square and the G right there on their badges. A lot of them, more than 20. Why is that? Why do the state police across our land have Freemasonic secret order emblems on their badges? Now, back to defund the police. Who are the police? Is there any mandate in your Constitution for the police? The answer is no. What is in your Constitution? A mandate for sheriffs? Yes, there is. The sheriff of a county has jurisdiction over everyone. The sheriff of your county has more power than any mayor. The sheriff of your county is the president of your county. And the police and all these other things exist because of their favor. There's plenty of sheriff's departments with these emblems on their badges as well, including pedophile type images. But state police and city police, quite frankly, don't have any jurisdiction in America. Now, where does that go? I don't know. What is the truth? That's the truth. What are we doing with this defund the police thing? I don't know. But I'm not going to sit around and say that I wouldn't be in favor of all assets being turned back over to the sheriff's department and sheriffs be given the money and sheriffs do the job of the, quote, police, because the police have a different ruler. They're ruled by the mayor. And the sheriff can arrest the mayor, but the police can't. You need to know your sheriff. You need to learn how to elect the proper sheriff in your county, and you need to red pill them. Collectively, we need to all do this. So your country is a corporation. I skipped a couple things here to jump to this. We're going to drop back there, guys, with the links. Proof the United States is a criminal corporation. Your country was usurped in 1871. Here's a good video on it. We're not going to get to it tonight because we're running a little long because of the delay here. But there's a video right here that the mods will drop to you, 5-minute video that explains to you how your country went from being a republic to a democracy. Right after they killed Lincoln, right after the Secret Service was created, Lincoln was assassinated the same day. And then you had unalienable rights that turned into inalienable rights. And then your world changed and the puppet masters had a toehold. And from there, they have been continuously, systematically destroying your sovereignty and your republic ever since in the name of the United States of America. So, all of the different things that occurred, say, going across, using federal troops to go across the land and murder all the Native Americans. Cabal, cartel, church, oriented, hidden hand, hidden scourge, invisible enemy. Also, what's interesting is location. Washington, D.C., right here. Delaware, right here. Did you know that you can't own land in Delaware, that you can only get a 99-year lease? What? Who was a senator from Delaware? Oh, Joe Biden. Do we have a king that is currently looking for a throne or a bloodline that's currently in power and hiding in plain sight? Here's an interesting video that was taken at Buckingham Palace not long ago, showing that the emblem is removed,
the gate,
and it's boarded up,
crest has gone,
and the guard is different there.
If you're going closer,
things are changing, my friends. And you're not seeing them unless you're paying attention with us and Q. Because everybody else is ignoring it.
Or covered or something.
It's not the normal British Guard guarding Buckingham Palace. The Queen's not there. Where is she? What's happening in the City of London, the Tower of London? Go look what happened in the Tower of London. What are the three centers? Washington, D.C., the City of London, and the Vatican? Are we exposing them good enough? Or am I falling short here tonight? .0 difference. Clinton campaign officials Podesta and Sullivan secretly joined forces with Fusion GPS after election to re-push the anti-Trump dossier. No! You don't say. George Soros, we're now in a revolutionary moment that allows us to achieve the inconceivable. Was the inconceivable the goals of the hidden hand? Why, yes, it was. George W. Bush cheers the protest as a sign of strength. Oh, yeah? Okay. I agree, the protests were a sign of strength. Protests were also a sign of solidarity. And they were also great cover for inserting anarchist and Antifa undercover to maim, harm, and kill. We've had, I think, 4 police officers or 5 shot in cold blood this week. You didn't see their funeral. CNN, Fox, nobody seemed to care. A few people mentioned it, but mostly they didn't seem to care. Who are these people? And they say some of the dumbest things. Don't you, Mr. Graham? Just a few weeks ago, you made the statement that you would be surprised if Kim Jong-un was actually alive. Well, that turned out to be stupid. And then just the other day, you said, I'm raising doubts about Antifa's role in the riots and looting. Oh, yeah? Okay. I'm not. I know that was not my American brothers out there breaking into stores and stealing stuff. Yes, there are different levels. There are people who are inserted into the movement who are instigators, who go through and they break the windows and they set fires and they incite people who are doing nothing more than protesting to doing things they normally wouldn't do. That the people that woke up the next morning and, oh my God, what have I done? There was a lot of them across the country, and I forgive them. I do. I don't forgive the instigators, but I forgive the people that were swept up in it. None of them that harmed anyone, but I see what they do. Your programming, you got to understand they have this program. They cannot escape it. It encompasses them. They are on the farm. They can't get out of it. It's incessant, and they can't move. This was Catherine Herridge describing that you are going to have some subpoenas real soon. And I think there's like 50 of them on the list, guys. So for all the naysayers out there that are impatient and say nothing is happening, You didn't understand that you have to build a foundation before you put the shingles on. What's going to happen if you go to a job site and before the foundation is built, you're breaking out the roof trusses? Think logically, my friends. Problems, problems, problems. Mayor of D.C. is married to Donna Brazil? How many knew that? Oh, really? Oh, and she was there at the hospital at 4:30 in the morning when Seth Rich was there too? LIB. I hope we're starting to see. This is the division. Text your relatives and loved ones that you won't visit or talk to them until they protest for Black lives or give money to social justice groups. Please stop sending love. Stop sending positive vibes. Stop sending your thoughts. Here are 3 suggestions. Money. We've proven that all the money that goes to Black Lives Matter. This is Black Lives Matter. Black Liberation Army. The Black Liberation Army are guided and controlled by these people. The Weather Underground. If you have not watched the video on iPod's video on the Weathermen, part 1 and 2, please do, because it is superb. And it will explain to you, currently the mayor in San Francisco is the son of one of the ladies from the Weather Underground. The name escapes me in this moment. But it started with a B. Bowden. B-O-U-D-I-N. I think it was Bowden. Same, guys. We got to come together as people. We got to stop saying that, oh, you're black and you did this, or you're white and you did this, or you're Latino and you did this. We got to say America first. America first. We'll hash some of this other stuff out later. America first. Save our country. The only country on planet Earth to ever be established that abolished slavery. Because all of us were slaves to the king before America was established. Not the slavery that you're used to hearing about, but the slavery that is the peasant. Before America, before the revolution, every human being outside of the bloodlines was a peasant with no sovereignty, with no choice, with no ability to stand up, and no due process or recourse. That's why the thoughtful systems that were placed on us are so valuable. They're not perfect. We're not perfect. No one's perfect. The person that stands there that tells you that they're perfect, you know immediately what they're not. 110%. We have to be able to paint the enemy. You cannot properly fire your weapon at a laser pointed to the wrong target and succeed in destroying the target. Email evidence emerging that Soros and Schiff influenced the Atlantic Council and took money from Burisma, knowing it was dirty money from organized crime. Why would they they brought up impeachment. They brought all these people up there to sit in front of you and talk bad about, all this different thing. And your president, he did this and he did that. And he was, no one's above the law. How many times did you hear, nobody's above the law? How many times do you think you're going to hear it whenever this stuff starts coming out? They're going to be screaming, just like Hillary Clinton was, oh, I don't have to testify because I was a government official. Bullshit. You're to be held to account. State Department emails indicate Yovanovitch met with Burisma rep despite the testimony. Oh, you don't say. So the lady that was up there testifying with Vindman and all of the other NSC assets was dipping your old hand in the cookie jar called Ukraine. Wait till Uranium-1 starts coming out. Wait till you see the connections to Uranium-1 and Mueller and what they did to get the uranium out and into the Middle East and into North Korea. Boo. It's just going to be funny to sit and watch the mainstream media try to spin this. And that's what we get to do. And here we have an interesting connection with the account that Jordan Sather got cued on the other day, pointing out that this account and at Jack are real cozy. And your Anon Central says Pizzagate was created to discredit op Death Eaters, which who knows what that is. QAnon was created to discredit Anonymous. Both were creations of prominent Trump supporters, state-backed, familiar with us and their operations. That's how we know that what we are telling you is credible. And I simply replied, you sound like my 17 intelligence agencies, mainstream media, academia, bureaucrats, globalist bankers, Hollywood sports organizations, clergy, monarchies, tyrant swamp creatures, and ass-hat lefties. Just saying. Might want a new playbook, Mr. Deep State. They actually, in a few tweets, use the word autonomous. That you're now seeing being used in the, quote, autonomous zone in Seattle, where they are going inside people's apartments and trying to break down their doors and steal from them inside that square, whatever is going on up there. This is not over. They're going to attempt to set these places. They're going to attempt to set this up in other cities, guys. This is not over. Remember, the truth to be unleashed means what? We got to see the enemy to be able to identify them. Here's an article about a current big bust that happened over in Germany. A torture dungeon found. Looks like a sex trafficking hub house there. But even in other countries, they're finding stuff. Look at the equipment found in this place. That looked like a small-time operation to you. Screens on the wall, screens on the desk, servers. How much child pornography do they have there? Quaint little, nothing-looking house. Reportedly, in 1979, Osama bin Laden's tutor, Prince Turki al-Faisal Assad, director of Saudi Arabia Secret Services from 1977 to 2001, asked Osama to direct and financially manage the CIA's secret operations in Afghanistan. Truth unleashed. Truth about who the perpetrators were. Oh, so we have Osama bin Laden, who was put in power in Afghanistan to, quote, combat the Ruskies, who later becomes the mastermind behind 9/11, and then who was the FBI director on 9/11/2001, late in the evening, afternoon, signed an order allowing all the bin Laden family to get on planes and leave. Robert Mueller, that's who. Yes, that Robert Mueller. Swamp is swampy. And here's an article, we're getting close to the end here, but this one I wanted to make sure I shared with you because there's a historical court case going on that's exposing the cover-up that's fluoride. If you do not know, do not drink water with fluoride in it, please. Break your neck and back to get out of a situation where you have to drink water that has been fluoridated, please. It is worth the money, especially for your young children. This process is part of why you have a bunch of screaming morons that can't understand anything running around the streets acting like zombies. Fluoride, monosodium glutamate, wheat, carbs, all of these different things mixed together cause poison in the body. Just like the video said, the secret covenant, once they come to us because the poisons are getting to them, then we're going to give them more poison, like chemotherapy. This right here, the mods will drop to you the link to this. This is enormous, and this is good. And that's all I'm going to say. All connected. Those that you know are not who you think they are, ladies and gentlemen. The world as you know it is not what you think it is, ladies and gentlemen. And there are some good things going on, some very interesting things. And here's one of them. Lockheed Martin now has a patent for its potentially world-changing fusion reactor. If you're not noticing, there's a lot of stories coming out now that have to do with free energy, charging your phone without it being plugged in, satellites projecting internet, small fusion reactors that could power small cities and towns with no pollution and no radioactive fuel to pollute with. Secrets that have been hidden from us for 100 years are somehow being declassed and brought to the forefront for us to look at for the first time. It's an ancient spell, guys. It's a very ancient spell. And it goes back a long time, and it covers the whole breadth of history and everything that we have known and understood about it for our whole lives has been bogus. It's not that hard to start again. It's not that hard to go ahead and allow the things that you think you know to be known. And when you become interested in them, or you think about them, or you're curious about them, go see if they're really things you think. Go see if you really think what it is your mind tells you whenever something occurs, whenever you react. And if you overreact to something, if you do something stupid, or if you do something wrong to someone else, then quit sticking to it and doubling down and attacking the person. Where does that get you? Where does that get any of us? Sometimes the person that is saying things that you don't like is trying to help you. I think that's what we're all doing here. I think that's why we all come together here. I think that's why you guys love this content, and you guys are out there creating your own content on Twitter and Facebook and other platforms, and setting up positions where you can show other people what it is you care about and what it is you find fascinating and what it is you want to do with your life, how you want to be a success, how you want to be an entrepreneur, how you want to bring people up out of poverty by inventing something that creates a business that puts people to work. And then whenever you put people to work, you start thinking about them like your family too. And you care about them, and you start sharing the profits of your company. And oh my God, the next thing you know, we're on the road to redemption. You got a leader in President Trump that's not going to back away from you. He's not going to leave you be. He's going to stand right there with you. I believe he will. Who are the ones destroying stuff? Who's destroying stuff? Was it the Taliban in the Middle East tearing down statues? In Libya, Iraq, Syria, Mesopotamia, the world over, Israel? Now here in America, destroying statues? Who can't take it? Who's the one doing it? Is it different? Is ISIS different than the Taliban, different than Al-Qaeda? Those are three different things. Are they different than the Mujahideen? Are they different than the mullahs in Iraq or in Iran? Are they different than North Korean generals? Where's the damn difference, guys? Unity does not mean just united in our thought forms, guys. Unity means united in understanding the truth and standing up against it. We all know the truth is unity. When we all know the truth, They will not have a place to hide. Remember what it said in the video. Who will give them shelter? Will ye give them shelter? I will not give them shelter. And I know you will not give them shelter. You are a band of anons like no man has ever seen on this planet. Goodness, is it beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. It's more beautiful than any work of art, any song, any book. It's a mosaic of humanity and unity and life and love and prosperous futuristic projections of manifestation. We build stuff. I don't tear up anything. I build stuff. And I want you to build stuff. I want you to build small things first if you've never really built anything, but build something bigger next time. Maybe you build something and you screw it up. Well, guess what? You learn how to do it better next time. Don't beat yourself up. Forgive yourself. Keep yourself in the foresight. Keep yourself in the sights. The line of fire is from you. You have the power. You are the ones that are put here. You are the one you were waiting for. You were. And now you have the power and the information to do something amazing with it. Go forth, young children, and prosper, please. Millions of Americans will thank you for it later, but they might not thank you for it right now. Much, much love to everyone out there who joined the program tonight. Sorry about the little hiccup in the middle, but we still got it in here. Please, everyone, feel free to post your comments below on the video in YouTube. If someone asks a question and you can help them out, don't hesitate to answer, because we are here to spread the notion that there is a clear line between the truth and the lie. The lie is that they are the global elite. The truth is that you are the global elite. You stand for freedom. You stand for justice. You stand for liberty. You will not fall. And America will not fall either. Thank you to all the great moderators that have worked tirelessly tonight to bring you the sauce, the links, the information. Thanks to all the people that support us in the Discord over there. If you would like to join Patreon for a small $10 a month donation, you can be part of the Discord. If not, there's other ways to donate down below. We have Magazon, we have PayPal, we have Cash App, we have a few other options to fit you. Thank you so much to all the new people that may have been out there. I hope I didn't scare you too bad, but I love you just the same as I love all the Patriots that have been here with me. It's almost 2 years on the Q Lounge Live, guys. Coming around on the 2nd year anniversary of me popping out of nowhere and getting on the radio, getting on a microphone. Let me tell you something. That was a big jump for me. But it has been an amazing ride, and I wouldn't trade 1 second of it for the entire world. So much love to all of you guys out there. Take care of your friends and family. Take care of your communities. Start learning more about what it is that you want to do in your life and reach out and do it. And with that, much love, Anons, Patriots, worldwide. We are united. Unleash the truth. Go forth. And I will see you next time on the Q Lounge Live. Good night.